Tony, you verify? I think so.
Yeah, let's call roll. Jimenez.
Present.
Davis.
Here.
Liccardo. Jones.
Aye.
Dieppe.
Present.
You have a quorum.
All right, excellent. With that, oyez, we'll hereby call this meeting of the Smart Cities and Service Improvements Committee to order for December 3rd, 2020. Rob or Kip, who am I handing off to?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Chairman Dieppe, Mayor Liccardo, committee members and members of the public, Rob Lloyd, Chief Information Officer for the city. I'm glad to be before you this afternoon. Happy holidays. Before we dive into the content of the session, we do want to take a moment to give credit. If Michael can bring up this, there you go. To give credit to all the city teams who've been part of our quest to be the most innovative city in North America by 2020. We did tweak the goal to in 2020, but on November 10th, the Center for Digital Government announced the Digital Cities Awards for 2020, and San Jose earned #1. The Digital Cities Awards are a very detailed application process calling for evidence and proof on a number of dimensions, including operational excellence through technology, community engagement, and innovation. And it's truly a citywide achievement. So to give you a little bit on the history, the city hadn't placed from 20 to 2016. In 2017, as we began our journey and the Smart Cities Vision was issued, we got 8th. Then the next year in 2018, we got 6th. Then 2nd last year, and now #1 of all cities in the country. So very proud to say that. Next slide, Michael. We also want to say that this has kind of been a good couple months for us. I'm not sure if you've seen, but the Financial Times in their Intelligent Business Awards for Public Sector shortlisted the city as a high achiever there. Then the Global Smart Cities Alliance called, and from the World Economic Forum, called San Jose a pioneer city as they measure cities through digital inclusion, innovation and equity, and other measures. And then also want to give a shout out to Jerry Dreesen, our Assistant CIO CTO, who this week was announced as one of the local IT leaders of the year in public sector. So we have a lot to be proud of, and I'm not sure if Chairman or if anyone else would like to say some words, but this is truly a citywide achievement, and we have so many incredible players that showed how valuable IT is and how much we can contribute citywide across our technology and innovation and departments, especially during tough times.
Yeah, so thank you, Rob, and congratulations to everybody. You know, this committee that we are on right now is still relatively new, just formed in the last 4 years or so, under the leadership of Mayor Liccardo, Vice Mayor Jones, and I think I'm the 3rd or 4th committee chair. I hope I'm not missing somebody, but I believe it was Mayor Liccardo and Vice Mayor Jones and then myself. So 3 years, or maybe Mayor Liccardo did it for 2, or Vice Mayor did it for 2. But anyways, it's a relatively new committee, and you know, to give thanks to everybody here, the team members who are no longer with us, who've moved on, to Shireen, Shantosam, I'm blanking on names here, but others who have moved on to other departments or other jobs in the private sector. We had a goal to be the most innovative city by 2020, and we didn't quite make it, but within 2020, we certainly did. So we set a goal, we charted a course, and we've been there. And I know that there are other peaks that we will to reach for. There's still a lot more to do to make San Jose truly earn its moniker as the capital of the Silicon Valley. And I have every confidence that with the team in place and with further support from our council and our community, we will get there. So onwards and upwards. Does anybody else on the committee want to speak to this?
Woohoo!
All right.
I just want to echo that as well. We have an amazing organization with amazing people, and I think these awards and recognition really are a testament to the outstanding work that our folks are doing. And I'm just excited to see what the future holds, because you know, it's great to be #1, but it's hard to stay #1. I'm sure there are other cities that are going to be nipping at our heels. So we got to take our game to another level just to stay ahead of the pack. But Great job, everyone.
I just want to be sure to recognize the triumphant of Rob and Kip and Dolan, who have really done, carved out a path for the city and honestly done a lot with a little, bringing, the roadmap to us and letting us see a vision. I understand that there are a lot of needs at our city and a lot of different initiatives and, telling us that we need to spend money to upgrade our computers is not the sexiest thing when compared to many other pressing needs. But it's important work and we need to do it and we need to fund it. And I'm grateful to the three of you and others and the staff beneath you for doing a lot with a little and being patient and being innovative and bringing the private sector in to collaborate with us and leading the nation in so many ways, from our digital divide work to the 5G agreements with the telcos and others. And I'm forgetting, so I won't go down that list because once I start doing that, I'm going to leave people out. But thank you, and let's move on.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Oh, sure. Mayor Liccardo,
I'm sorry. I was actually out in the audience for a while, and so I'd raised my hand, but I understand you hadn't gone to public comment yet. So thanks for whoever let me in to the rest of the group. I just want to say a huge thank you to Rob Lloyd for his incredible leadership. Rob came to us from another city where he had already won an award for what he had done, and obviously there's been a team effort. There are a lot of great people who have been working together, and congratulations to Jerry and obviously all the folks who have been, I see a picture of Michelle, you mentioned folks who have moved on, obviously great people, Jay and Kip and so many others. We owe Dolan, I know I'm seeing lots of good photos of lots of good people. The reality is you make San Jose look great. And it's been, I think many of us know, it's been a long slog dealing with national media that still can't locate San Jose on a map. And to recognize that we are in fact a leading edge city here in the heart of Silicon Valley. And I really appreciate everything that the team's done to really position the city in its rightful place. And hopefully we'll just continue to build on this great success. So thank you.
Yep, I'm not sure if you want to add any last comments.
Two appreciations in two different directions. One, this is one where leadership really has mattered. I remember, Mayor, reading your book that you took the time to write, thinking about.
You were one of only 3 people who read it, Kip. Thank you.
I'll do a review on Amazon for you. And you were very, very clear at that point about your vision around the opportunity to take a little bit of the pixie dust, the genius of Silicon Valley, and sprinkle it within the city in service of people. And that's what attracted me to come back from tech to work on this team and to try to make it real. And then you and Shireen were relentless. And I mean that in the best way and on most days. But you were relentless in making sure that this was a priority and that we took it seriously and that we tried to tap into the genius of this valley. And then on the other side, where the real credit goes for this is the team. By my count, there were at least 450 people throughout the organization who had a real piece in making this happen. On everything from getting our GIS databases cleaned up and our master addressing system correct, to then applying that to food, to all sorts of things that we could spend days listing. And I'm just so appreciative of the team of leaders, both millennials and gray hairs alike, who've contributed to making this so. And so on behalf of them, appreciate you and your leadership and appreciate this award. I'm not a big awards guy, but this one matters. This is a really tough one to get. And it really feels like it's well won. And if you hadn't put that line in the sand on 2020, we wouldn't have nailed it like we did.
Well, you guys nailed it. Thank you, Kip.
All right, and this all connects to the first agenda item we have. We do have a full agenda in terms of the Smart Cities Roadmap update, the San Jose 311 update, a report on the public safety communications interoperability, and a fun item in the Joint School Library issued cards. Next slide, our first item is going to be from Michael Foster. one of the ways that we can harness and focus all of our efforts and make good use of the resources that we have has been through the Smart Cities Roadmap, the IT Strategic Plan, and our Small Wonders. And Michael's going to go through this month's Smart City Roadmap and also give you a preview of some changes that are coming based on reprioritization and an audit item. So with that, Michael.
Thanks, Rob. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and members of the committee and the public. My name is Michael Foster, and I am the Division Manager of the City Portfolio Projects Office, which we call C3PO for short. And I'm here to cover what Reggie used to cover, which is the Smart Cities Roadmap update. So if you remember when Reggie and I last spoke in November, this is what we had sort of compacted down to in response to the COVID-19 issues. So that was the first update we gave in November in a while. So this was the current status of those things back in November. And one of the things obviously that's going to happen from now on is I will be giving these updates monthly. So you'll be getting these a bit more frequently than you have in the past. So the change to this month, can I highlight a few things here? So if you see the stars, there's a few things that are completed. We've completed the San Jose 911-311 transition. And that has gone pretty well. We've got that switched over, and we've completed the IT infrastructure modernization, which is conversion to hyper-converged infrastructure. I won't go nerdy on that, but let's just say that's a lot better, faster, stronger. And the automatic translations for SJ311 have been released. That's actually quite a big deal, that we've got translations from both Spanish and Vietnamese into English and vice versa for people. This is written language, so people writing in Spanish or writing in Vietnamese, it can be automatically translated to English for our operators. A few other things to note on here. Well, I'll go to the next slide, actually. That makes a little bit more sense. So the red and yellow statuses, as we reported before, the FirstNet deployment last month was in red. Now I would say it's yellow or pinkish yellow. There's still some remaining budget items to address, but we're working with the budget office on this. But we made a lot of progress in getting phones out there and getting people using these FirstNet phones. And that's really critical, of course, for the day we're going to really need them. And then, as I mentioned before, the SJ 911-311 transition, it's gone from yellow to green. We've completed benchmarks with mission critical partners and completed the call tree switchover. So that is complete. Just to show you the momentum we've got here. So in November, had about 22 projects, about 64% were in the green. In December, we've got about 25 projects going, 17 of them in the green, and luckily none of them in the red. We've got 4 in the yellow and 4 currently on hold. So momentum, as you could guess, is not going to change as much month to month now that we're reporting on this monthly. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we will be rebalancing next time we meet, which is February, not January. We will be rebalancing to the San Jose City Roadmap for 2020-2021. You've probably seen this next slide before. This is not my slide, but this San Jose City Roadmap. So with these new priorities, we'll be rebalancing the map you see for Smart Cities Roadmap to be more in line with this map. And that's all I have for now. I think, Rob, you come back on.
Actually, it's questions from the committee and the public.
Okay.
All right. Well, then we'll move to questions from the committee. Any of my colleagues want to speak to this? I'm trying to see here.
And
Yeah,
Chair,
Mayor.
there's a public speaker.
Oh, there's a public. Is that, wait, this mayor? Is there someone named Sam here wants to speak in the panelists?
Yeah, that's me, probably.
Okay. Go ahead. Welcome our guest, Mayor Liccardo.
Thank you.
So, well, there's two columns. In the attendees column, we have Blair Beekman with his hand up, and in panelists, we had Sam with his hand up.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
go to public comment for a second.
We'll go to the public, sure.
All right. Mr. Beekman, go ahead.
Hi, happy meeting everyone. I would like to again apologize if my words were a bit too strong at the Smart Cities meeting last month. You have what seems a very good new team assembled that wants to address how the future of new technology can actually connect with everyday community and help community. You can hear in their language and education that previous years of Smart City Commission meetings did not have. And in fact, what I've always tried to work towards and ask for. Thank you. Again, as always, please do not be afraid how everyday community can connect with yourselves at city government, as this is how to talk about technology and innovation, and how to talk about the important terms of equity, reimagine, equality, and peace through better democratic practices of a local community. A speaker spoke here a few days ago at a city council during the confusing Bayuasi yearly funding plans, asking about that with so much new San Jose surveillance technology equipment, including the traffic cameras that can do a myriad of things, ALPRs and facial recognition for all I can guess. Why have not one of your two civic innovation review boards have a more active role in asking what can be open public policies and decent civil protections and community practices with ideas of with surveillance technology and data collection? I hope these ideas can be taken very seriously, as I have doubts that the new Measure T public oversight for technology issues will be ready to be functional in the next few years, as was guessed it could be, if at all, if it'll be ready to go. With any remaining time I have, do I have any remaining time? I have 25 seconds. Yeah, just to say that clear, the Measure T, public oversight for technology, that is not working out too well. I don't think it's a lot of patience to wait for a couple more years if it's going to work out. Why not work out one of your civic innovation review boards of technology, make it as a public board where the public can ask about our technology future for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. Returning to the council, Mayor Liccardo.
Hey, thanks. Just on that 311-911 work that is now moved to, if we could go back to that slide, I think it's now moved to.
We're actually going to go into great detail on that in the next item.
Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. There was
don't
a second item that was also for which we made quite a bit of progress, and I was trying to understand what the concrete impact of that was. It was listed with that slide. That was,
Michael,
sorry.
can you throw that slide back up?
Sure. The infrastructure upgrade, perhaps?
The changes in color.
Yeah, changes in color. There are just two items, and there are two items that we're curious about. Oh yeah, the first net deployment. Yeah, so on that, I thought the budget was already provided by grant funding, like UASI grants or something.
Some of it was. There's a lot of complexity around making sure that we understood all of the costs and all of the costs required to install all of the devices. So to give you an example, we have, in addition to actually, for example, the cradle point modems, which need to be installed in our various vehicles. In addition to the cost to actually get the cradle point modem, you have to actually have very skilled people, our mechanics, install them. And so that becomes an internal cost, but a cost nonetheless. So a lot of this was the team rapidly working through the complexity of deploying these thousands of devices and doing that in a way that fully captured all of the costs, made sure we had the software and the hardware upgraded at the level that we needed, and changing that out of here and there. As we got into the details, as one does, we found out some things needed to shift, and there were additional costs with that. So we're basically, I would say 96% there, and we've been able to move things around without harming other pots of money to do this, but it did take quite a bit of effort from the team.
Cool. Thanks, Kip.
All right, we'll go to Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. Michael, I just have one question. Remind me what the LED smart controllers entails and what the holdup is, because I know our LED streetlight conversion is moving forward apace. and planning to be done before the end of next year. So I'm just wondering how that is, how the smart controllers that project is being impacted.
Yeah. Actually, Kip or Rob, do you want to take this? You probably might know a little bit more about the details on this one.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Rob, you want me to take the first cut, or would you like to do that one?
Yeah, I'll follow up.
Okay, so bottom line, you're correct, council member. We are moving forward with the conversion of the remaining typically low pressure sodium lights to LED lights. And that installation is being done as we speak across the city. And that includes what I would call a very basic on-off switch, if you will, kind of a photovoltaic that allows the lights to go on and off based on the lighting level. So that's already in the kind of the basic design. What we've got, what we're looking at is a more robust smart controller that could include a greater range of control of the lighting, and also potentially could have sensors or cameras attached to it for various things like traffic control or all sorts of other uses. And so part of what we're doing is we've realized that we can decouple, and we need to decouple those two in order to do two things on the smart controller side, or at least I'll say three things on the smart controller side. One is make sure we understand what kind of smart controllers we want where, because we don't necessarily need all things everywhere. Two, understand some of the privacy and security concerns around deployment of any sensors above and beyond a mere controller of the lighting. And then three, do the process to acquire the right most future-proofed set of technology that will work across the city for us. And we realized that if we delayed now, we would miss the opportunity to do the conversion in the most cost-effective manner. So we realized that decoupling them, while not ideal, was our best solution for the moment. So we are a little bit farther behind than we would like to be on the controllers because of those cautious steps that we're taking, but we are not at all slowing down the deployment of the LED conversion. And for most people, they will get the positive effects of the LEDs sooner rather than later because of that. Rob, anything that I've missed?
No, you got it. The one lesson that we have from other communities is how important that technical architecture and how that connects with security and privacy really is. We've seen that be a very tough issue in some peer cities down south, or at least one in particular. So that caution was well rewarded. But the low-hanging fruit in getting the lighting piece done, that is still valuable in its own right.
I completely agree. It'll save us money. It's very helpful. I know it's been people like them once they've been installed, because it makes for a brighter nightscape and safer. And so I just want to make sure I completely understand. So I understand the privacy security concerns, and now it looks like we're going to be speccing multiple types of controllers based on the site specific needs. So is that work continuing, and is the identification of different sites, is that going forward right now?
I'll say two things, and then hopefully somebody with a slightly bit more current knowledge will pick it up. One is where we are now with this technology is that we are hoping to be able to get a kind of single core controller that can be modularly expanded, so that rather than having to procure 17 different types of devices for 17 different use cases, we procure one that can be modified depending on where we put it out. So there are two streams of work that in addition to the procurement, that we need to inform that. One is what devices would we want where, and the other is the procurement itself. Some of that work has been slowed down and put on pause because many of those people who were doing that work are the same people you have seen giving reports on feeding and other things in the EOC. So that work has to, I don't know the exact amount of delay, but that work I would say has been significantly delayed because of our COVID response. And that's part of the reason we chose to decouple.
Okay. So we don't currently have a timeline on the smart controller.
I think we do, but I don't know it. So I would, if there's somebody who has we can follow up with a little bit more precise knowledge. If there's somebody here who's closer to that than I am, or remembers my last briefing better than I do, we can speak up right now.
No problem. No problem. I completely understand, and I'm glad that we didn't decided to decouple, because I think the streetlight conversion is the most important piece of that. And this is a kind of a nice to have as opposed to a need to have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, Councilmember, two things I would just add very briefly. One, on that technical architecture, how we abstract that complexity of having multiple controllers and multiple platforms, because most of the solutions that have been pitched to us are niche, and matching that with what the costs would be in a sustainable way are still outstanding questions. So we do have to pin those things down to do a clean procurement and not have that procurement hold us up. So hence why it was bifurcated.
And perhaps the tech will advance in the time that it takes us to get back around to this project. We can always hope.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Seeing no other interest in speaking, can we get a motion to accept the reports?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion made and seconded. Tony?
Jimenez,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Ricardo,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Diep.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, committee. The next item we have is the San Jose 311 update. It seems like forever ago when we were celebrating National 311 Day on March 11th, right before COVID-19 shelter-in-place orders took effect. We had kicked off the transition of non-emergency calls from 911 to 311 and set in place a plan to champion that customer message and create that omni-channel approach to helping our residents get amazing city services no matter how they come to us. Although COVID slowed down our efforts, they did not stop. In fact, we are now combining our San Jose 311 efforts with broader digital strategies, and that is being led by Jerry Dreesen and his team, who are here to tell us more.
Thanks, Rob. Honorable Mayor, Chair, members of the community, members of the public, my name is Jerry Dreesen. I am the Assistant CIO for the city. Our update today will focus on the progress we've made from a technical perspective in making it easier for residents to find and receive the services they need from the city. With me today are Kia O'Hara and Herman Sedano, who are going to talk in more detail, both about, Kia will talk about the transition and the call center from the some of the 911 calls related to city services that have moved to the 311 call center, and Herman will also talk about the tech tools, the mobile app, and then also the web portal. Kia has over 16 years of experience and deep knowledge of the call center and the service provided, and she recently was promoted to an analyst position so that she can help us focus on data and using data to drive better results to continuously improve. Herman is Products Project Manager. He's been with us for just over a year and a half, and he's done amazing work in positioning our 311 app to better serve the public, and one of his most recent successes that he'll talk more about is adding machine learning language translation to the app for both Vietnamese and Spanish, which we're very excited about. Before we get into those detailed reports, however, I want to talk a little bit about what do we mean when we say SJ311. And what we're really talking about is an array of options for residents to contact the city for city services. They can call us, they can use a chatbot, they can use our virtual agent, they can use our website, they can submit online forms to us, they can use the San Jose 311 app or the web portal. All of those channels together make up our service delivery strategy, and they all need to be in sync and supported by strong people, process, and technology. We refer to this approach as an omni-channel experience that revolves around a single customer experience. It's using one platform and making sure that our customers are centric to that platform. I want to go back though, as I tee up Kia and Herman, and talk about the history a little bit, going back to July of 2017, when we rolled out the My San Jose app. We went live with 5 core services at the time, plus general requests. The app quickly became popular, and it also pointed out areas where we needed to improve. Then moving into 2019 and 2020, you'll recall that we launched our newly designed website in November of 2019. We began to move then with partnerships with Google.org and mission critical partners towards really moving towards this omni-channel approach and rebranding our call center and our app into SJ311 so that our customers weren't confused about the difference between what to use My San Jose for versus when to call. They all started to come together to mean the same thing. And we also worked at that time to take city service calls that were previously answered by the fire department and PD, and we moved them over to the 311 call center. And Kia will spend quite a bit of time talking about that. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, and one more point to make here. We're continuing as we move forward and as we rebranded into this omni-channel experience, we're adding in more services. So we've just added Spanish and Vietnamese, and Recycle Plus will be added as our first service being added to the app. Since it's launched in 2017, it is scheduled to launch in March of next year. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kia to talk about our call center transitions.
Hello. So when we last left our heroes, there were many challenges. The main challenge was the 2017 City Auditor and Civil Grand Jury report, which found that 2 emergency 911 centers and the 1 non-emergency or 311 center was not meeting the state standard of answering 95% of the calls within less than 15 seconds. A big part of the problem was that the police staff non-emergency lines were taking calls that diverted resources from their emergency calls. The city of San Jose, along with a Google.org fellowship team and our consultant, Mission Critical Partners, found that many of those calls were the same type of calls that the call center was already processing, like complaints about illegal dumping and abandoned vehicles. So we determined that the call center should take all of those calls. This recommendation to improve the call handling and the city's center service delivery was to expand 311 access and to divert those emergency city service calls to the customer contact center. What that means is that the residents should call the call center versus the police unless it is a true emergency. So on March 11th, which now feels like forever ago, just as the world began to turn its focus to COVID-19 or coronavirus, the city of San Jose launched a major service redesign. The redesign was that when residents call 311, it goes to the call center, not the police department any longer. Historically, 311 was the number we would call to report non-emergency police issues, but we've modernized the transition of these calls so that the call center can triage the calls to determine if they are indeed a police issue or if they can be processed within our San Jose 311 center. In order to bring attention and awareness of 311 and how to correctly use it, the city has now nationally registered March 11th or 311 as 311 Day. During the implementation of San Jose 311, the trainers explained it to me like this, which I thought was very memorable, and I think this is an important takeaway. For a burning building, call 911. For a burning question or concern, call 311. Our aim is to change the way residents think about city services. San Jose 311 is the umbrella that encompasses all city services. Customers and residents do not need to know who to call when they need someone to help them. What we'll do is we will assist them or as much as possible, or we'll try to connect them with the proper department or external service or government agency like the county. We've been working with other departments to provide similar responses and to coordinate our message. In order to make a lot of this happen, we've been gathering data, communicating with customers, residents, and other departments. We've been monitoring our customer service standards to improve the resident experience and reduce the wait times. We've taken a customer-centric approach, which attempts to satisfy the expectation, which is one and done. So when you call, you speak to one person and you're done with your business for the day. Within 1 week of this effort, our entire group had to start working remotely due to COVID. So on March 11th, 311 Day, we celebrated 311 nationally, and March 17th, we were all working remotely from home. But we were still able to complete an automated response system and customer call center usability study that led to the updating of the 311 and the police non-emergency phone scripts and the routing. We transitioned the 311 number from the police department to SJ311, which included activation of 311 on T-Mobile and Verizon to allow their customers the same accessibility. We also instituted a callback feature to save residents time. We have updated our online FAQs. We've added live chat that allows residents to speak to SJ311 without even actually calling. And we are adding a virtual agent. That's going to help to direct calls and other requests without even speaking to a rep at all. We have also improved our after-hour services and added ongoing customer service training and adjusted our phone trees as needed. We've planned a media campaign, but the launch has been pushed to the near future, of course, due to the pandemic. So with all of these changes, we are continuing to measure progress, with metrics, as you can see on this slide. Thank you, Jerry. Since the change to the police department's phone tree in August, which changed SJ311 to their first option when you call the police, they have averted about 1,800 calls per month versus what it was before, which was only about 300 averted to SJ311. So that change did improve service. This does not mean that the police have less calls to process. What it does mean is that the police staff can dedicate more resources to their important police-related calls. On the next slide, we're showing that due to the call center's phone tree improvement, which moved the police option to last on the list instead of first, more residents are choosing to speak to our representatives instead of just automatically choosing to talk to the police. This was a fairly recent change, but we're going to continue to monitor and make adjustments as needed. Along with the changes to the call center, San Jose 311 also manages our online application and mobile access. This was formerly known as My San Jose, but having San Jose 311 and My San Jose was confusing. And we also found that My does not translate very well into Vietnamese and Spanish in the way that we thought it would. So we decided to align this service to San Jose 311. Since we consider the call center to be the digital front door to the city, and 311 is nationally used and recognized, we are now all called San Jose 311. I'm going to now pass it on to one of our San Jose 311's management team members, Herman Sedano, and he's going to go into more detail about the technology side of San Jose 311. Herman?
Thank you, Kia.
No problem.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council members, and public in general. I wanted to go back to what Jerry mentioned earlier about San Jose 311 being an actual journey. It started in 2017 with a limited budget. In a short period of time, San Jose 311 went live and very rapidly improved its value. By 2020, it was a time where we saw an opportunity to improve it. Now, there were several areas that we could have worked on. The decision was to focus on 3 areas. Number 1 was data synchronization issues. What does that mean? That meant that if a resident reported an issue, some of those tickets didn't flow to the departments, meaning that they didn't know that a ticket had been logged. If a service department personnel were to update the tickets, those updates, that information wouldn't go to the residents. Those data synchronization issues had to be fixed manually, significant effort and cost as well. Once we implemented a fix, an enhancement that we put it under the umbrella of a cure plan, those issues declined significantly. You can see by this chart, there were thousands of those no sync reports. By the month of June, it went below 1%. Another area that we wanted to improve was security. Before the cure plan was implemented, we were using an in-house developed security procedure. As part of this plan, we implemented Oracle's security procedures that are widely used by Oracle Service Cloud customers. That's what we have right now. Another thing that brought this to us was the fact that the platform became more stable, I would say more robust, but also more flexible, which opened the door for us to deploy a new service. So in March of 2021, we will deploy the first new service since San Jose 311 went live back in 2017. And it will be the Recycle Plus service. We also implemented a fix for a problem that was caused by a resident. We had a particular user who was using a bot to report, to enter false reports. Those were in the thousands, you can see on this chart. The impact caused to the different departments was significant. They have to spend valuable time in addressing those false reports rather than focus on true ones. We implemented it, and as you can see from the thousand of those false reports, we went down to 4 in the month of July. Next slide, please. What is that we are currently doing, and what is that we have next? As part of the cure plan, unfortunately, we introduced an issue, which was the logging issue. Basically, a resident had to log in every time that he or she needed to use the app. We deployed a preliminary fix by September 29th, and we are actively working on a permanent solution for the problem. What else we deploy? We deploy a tool, which is a messaging tool that allows us to modify the messages that we want to send to the residents when they open a ticket. Those changes can be done in-house and represent no cost to the city. Language translation, as we said before, went live on November 20th for Spanish and Vietnamese. Virtual agent is currently a task to be completed by the end of this month. And we will see that more information in the coming slides. Recycle Plus, again, March 2021, for which I have more information in a coming slide as well. Overall, this is the way how we track tasks or deliverable for San Jose 311. The one that you see in green color basically mean that they have been deployed. Two things to highlight here certainly is the language translation that we have completed, and also our active effort to deploy Recycle Plus in the next few months. Next slide, please. So what is with the language translation that we would like to highlight? Organizations such as the City of San Jose have two ways to use Google technology for language translation. One is a free version of it, and the other is called the auto machine learning, or auto ML. The auto machine learning basically allows a user or an organization to train a model or teach a model so that that model or that engine better understand the way how, in our case, Spanish and Vietnamese are used in the city of San Jose. So the term localization is very key here, because neither language will be used in the same way in San Jose, in Florida, or in other city or state. Now, what does that tell us? Number one, we put a target. We say that we will consider a success if we were to meet 80% quality. When we say quality, basically we mean that we will have either residents or City of San Jose bilingual who will verify the quality of the translation. And as you can see here, in 3 instances, we went beyond 80%. One, especially the translation between English to Spanish, we were 2% shy of 100%. There is one, which is Vietnamese to English, where the quality didn't hit that 80%. However, it's still 50% better if we were to use the free Google tool. Now, this being a model that can be trained, basically it just reinforces our plan to continue to gather pairs, phrases, and continue to teach the model. We expect to see this number to increase in the coming weeks or months. Recycle Plus is a project that basically executes on an action captured in January 2019, where City Council prioritized customer satisfaction. So customer satisfaction was going to be considered a key element on future contracts. Another thing to mention here is that as we implement this as we add Recycle Plus to San Jose 311, this particular service will also benefit by language translation. There are four new services that a resident. There are 350,000 households that use four of these four holders that we have. All of them will benefit by requesting these services online instead of using a phone. Milestones, we have key ones. Number one, we have the development phase. We expect to finish by January 15, and by March 21st, this project should go live. Next slide, please. It is a complex system. Certainly, in any project, you have to manage different areas of the requirements, the resources. Here, what makes it especially interesting is that we're talking about 4 different companies who are going to benefit, actually who support currently San Jose residents. They have different infrastructure, they have different systems. But the one thing that we notice is that the haulers, as well as city staff, they see the benefit of using San Jose 311 as a platform. The haulers see that the number of calls could be reduced or could be handled online rather than have more people on their call center. So it's a very interesting situation where we see all teams feeling part of the benefits of what this service will bring to San Jose. Next slide, please. Virtual agent, again, the plan here is that we minimize the impact on our agents, that we rather have them focusing on high value tasks. And the virtual agent will be primarily used for volume type of calls. One of them could be, for example, a resident asking who is my hauler. That could be answered by a virtual agent. As previously said, this is a project that it was worked in partnership with Google and other companies that currently work with the city of San Jose. Next slide, please. Metrics from July to October. We don't see anything significant here. Seem to be a pattern from previous year. Other issues, we can see a decline, but the further investigation into it just proved to be a seasonable type of modification. But overall, number of tickets continue to come, and the team continue to work hard to respond to them and address their requests. Back to you, Jerry.
Mr. Dreesen, you are muted.
There. Moving forward, we're focusing on the digital strategies and how to continue the great work that we've done on the SJ311 side and to advance our work into a digital strategy. We've partnered with Harvard Business School Community Partners, and they actually presented with us at the last Smart Cities Committee. What Harvard's going to be working with us on is the city has never established a full inventory of city services that are candidates for digital services. And this work was planned but not completed. It was actually planned right before COVID hit and didn't get completed because their focus changed to responding to the pandemic. And now we're partnering with Harvard to do just that, to establish a full inventory of city services and then help us prioritize which ones are most ripe for conversion into a digital strategy. The work that Harvard's doing is really in 4 work streams. They're going to help the city develop a view of our current state and areas of opportunity, both by looking at the services that are ready to move to digital, because it does take some business process reengineering work to actually make them ready to offer up digitally. They are also scanning other cities, both across the country and the globe, to establish best practices that have been implemented elsewhere and to help us decide which ones are appropriate to implement here. And they are also working to get feedback from our residents in terms of what our residents want related to digital services or service delivery in general. And then they're going to help us create a vision for how we can deliver services with a digital first mindset across the city. All of that work will come together and help inform our work moving past March when we launch Recycle Plus, and we will be working towards that roadmap for the future of our digital strategy. And we'll be back, I believe, in June of next year to the Smart Cities Committee to report on that work and where we're heading for the future. And for some reason, this blew up. So I'm going to end the report there.
All right, we'll.
Just one thing to add, if I might, Chair. There's a lot of people who really push this item and service improvement through digital services and San Jose 311, and we're very deeply appreciative of all the pushing and advocacy that council has had, including you, Chair Diep. I know this is your last meeting, but the Vietnamese piece and how much you advocated for that. We do want to say thank you for pushing us in the right ways and advocating for the community in the right ways so that we could make this addition. So thank you on behalf of the team.
I appreciate that, and thank you for putting the pressure on for me to say something intelligent about this item. No, that's meaningful to me. Part of my reason for getting into public service to begin with, what brought me down this path was the fact that as a kid, my parents, I helped my parents and their friends and my relatives, anybody who was Vietnamese, do things like make doctor's appointments or pay their credit card bills or ask for delays in negotiating with credit card bills, and just accessing benefits and being the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid to use his grade school English to help his elders just kind of have an easier go at it in the American society. So that was, bringing access to communities of all sorts has always kind of been something that I care about. And, seeing this work and being able to integrate, Spanish and Vietnamese into our services, I know is a great boon and really goes far in helping us be a more welcoming city as we all want to be. So thank you for that, Rob. I really appreciate it. We'll turn now to the public real quick. And before we go back to council, Mr. Beekman, 2 minutes.
Hello. This item, I wanted to nicely remind that, these are kind of the ideas of equity. And you guys have been working on this for a few years now. And so, it's nice that it's come to fruition. And yeah, I'm interested how, this can all meld together into our city future that we're trying to build, where we can all feel that, we are building our future now. And these are one of the important steps to do that. And this is a future of peace. And this is a future of just better practices of ourselves. So thank you for these efforts. And thanks. That's about it.
All right, great. Return to council. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. And I know Rob knew I was going to say something about this item because I have a couple of power users, one of whom is in my household. And I just want to ask a couple of questions about the update as time has gone on. So I appreciate that there's a preliminary fix for the login issue. Can you talk a little bit more about what the preliminary fix is right now? I tried to log in a couple of weeks ago and got stuck in a loop of I couldn't remember my password and couldn't get my password to reset. So what's the preliminary fix and what's the timeline on the permanent fix?
So I'll actually start that, Herman. And we have part of our preliminary fix was actually to put a shortcut within the app to basically put a shortcut to the web portion of the app. So we have a web portal and we actually have the mobile app itself. And so the shortcut directs you to the web portal where we can actually, you won't have to relog in every time. And so that's what I've put on my phone, and it works. I do understand it requires a user action, which we don't normally like. You actually have to do something and take an action as opposed to just downloading the app from the App Store. We are working with our partners to work on that long-term solution, and we have had several meetings both with their implementation provider and with the company that supports the platform to come up with a solution long-term. we don't have nailed down an exact date for when we're implementing that, but we're in ongoing conversations with them. Herman, do you have anything to add there?
No, I think Councilmember Davis, if you were to have a recommendation about how we can make that transition, as Jerry pointed out, to go to a home button or a shortcut, certainly I would like to hear. We did put some steps there in our website. We also make those to be prompted to a user about how to create that. But if there is any other way that you can suggest about how that can ease the transition, I certainly would like to hear that.
Well, I got to tell you, I started down the path and then I didn't have my password set in my password memory banks. So I have one for my phone and one through Google, and it wasn't in either one. And I didn't have time to reset my password and figure out how to do that. So I didn't get that far yet, but I will take some time and reset my password and figure that out. So I appreciate that. But as you say, when it takes another action, and of course I had another easier path, which is to just text my staff and say, hey, I need this thing, and I can't get it on 311. So I took that easier path and didn't get back around yet. So I appreciate that. I think, the sooner we can have the app I'm still telling people to go to the App Store. I didn't mention the login issue to anybody when I talk about the 311 app, either in my office hours or if someone happens to mention it. I just tell them about the app, and then they'll kind of figure it out on their own, because I didn't have a clear path to tell them what to do.
Councilmember, I was just going to say, Councilmember, the long-term fix for the app is a high priority. I mean, we do know that we have to get that long-term fix in, and we continue to work on that. And the other thing I would add, Kip, sorry, is when you download the app, it actually gives you a message that says if use this for a shortcut to avert the login issue, and it kind of stands out there as a flag in the app. But we do understand that's not the panacea. It's not where we want to be, and so we're continuing to work on the long-term fix.
Great. Kip, did you want to say something?
I just perhaps a little slow on the uptick, but I think, Jerry, what I would offer is clearly, what we know about using something like this is habituation is extremely important. What we know about habituation is when you have friction, you lose habituation, right? And so we've heard this enough to know we have prioritized it. I think given that I've got my heads out of the clouds on a few things, let's go ahead and pull our card, because we've just gotten feedback from our policy body that this is a real issue. Let's pull that card out, and let's set a meeting with me and whoever we need to set a meeting with to talk it through, because frankly, it's in their best interest to be able to figure out how to do that kind of login on the App Store. And while the website workaround is a workable workaround, it is not the ideal for anybody. So let's bump the prioritization up on this. I'll spend some personal time on that because I do think it is something that they as a company need to figure out if they're going to stay as a company. So let's do that one at a higher priority. I appreciate the real feedback on this, because it's not just a minor issue. It will deeply impair people's willingness to habituate to the use of the app.
Thank you. And I think that's true. I know that, so my husband is one of the power users, as Rob knows. He gets emails forwarded to him regularly from my 2 power users in my district. And my husband stopped using it during the pandemic because of that login issue, which means graffiti in our neighborhood does not get reported as quickly as it used to, for the most part, because it's a dog walking activity for him is to spot the graffiti. The other question I had is about the call center. And this is, I know we've been in transition, so I just want to check on the status of it. My understanding, and this goes with, talking about championing the customer and having a customer-centric approach, is that, and I think Kia mentioned this, when people call 311, they just want to call 311 and be done with it. And as late as this summer, but I haven't heard recently, 311 call center call takers were still saying, oh, you need to call Parks Concerns, let me give you that number. You need to call, you know, the street lights or parking concerns or something like that. Instead of just doing it for them and routing that, whatever the request is or the report. Are we past that now so that the 311 customer service representatives are empowered to take whatever the question is to just handle it? Is that, and I think, I don't know, Kia, if you're the one who
Yeah.
had mentioned the one
I could
staff,
jump
and
in.
I know Haman is the call center guy, so whoever wants to take it.
Okay, I'll take part of it and then whoever wants to jump in after me. Thank you for your question. And so that's an excellent question. It depends on the department. Some departments do prefer to speak to the customer directly because there's questions that they need to ask the person specifically. And so for park concerns, that is one of them. They do prefer to speak to the customers directly about, depending on what the question is. So yeah, we have been empowered in a lot of areas, but some departments do prefer to speak to the customer.
Well, let's escalate that.
Can I make
Yeah.
a suggestion?
Thank you, Kip.
Yeah. So I think again, this is a super useful session. So let's departmental preference is great. Customer service wins. So let's make sure that we can think about how we do both. And I think the basic too is, even if there is a departmental need to talk, I think we're talking about making sure that it gets what I call a warm handoff, right?
Mhm.
Of like, oh, I'm calling that number and I'll transfer you over. So there may be probably some technical issues and probably some turf issues and probably some policy issues. None of those are insurmountable. But I think at this point, now that you guys have done a really amazing job of doing the technical aspects of the transfer over, and you've got a core system that's modern and working, this is exactly the time to start knocking these kinds of things off. So I have a feeling you've got some ideas from experience, Kia, of how we might do some service improvement. So let's double down on that empowerment and take this again as a great piece of customer feedback and voice of the customer.
Great, I will, thank you. And I'm gonna take notes. Warm transfer is excellent and we'll add that for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And another idea there would be, what is the basic information that the parks people are going to need in that handoff? And I would just say, as you said, Kia, people just want to have one phone call and be done with it. If they can report what the issue is, what the name of the park is, or the location of the park, if they don't necessarily know the name. I mean, we have a park in my district that goes by 3 different names, and it's Willow Street Bramall Park. And, some people will call it one or the other. But if we could have that basic information and then just take their phone number and say, if Parks has a question, can they call you back? As opposed to transferring and going into a voicemail and then possibly losing that, because people will sometimes leave their message and we get this on our voicemail still, even though we haven't been in the office for a while, where they won't leave a number for us to be able to call them back. So while they have a live person on the phone, they can give basic information and give their number and have a parks person respond if they have questions. But if a swing is broken at Hummingbird Park, there's literally only one swing at Hummingbird Park. Parks doesn't need to talk to that person. They can just go, oh yeah, we need to fix the swing over at Hummingbird Park. As opposed to, a bigger park where it's harder to find something, or, a pipe is broken. Okay, then you need to get some location issues worked out, and you need to have a conversation. So just kind of I know this is maybe getting down to the granular level, but in terms of the customer experience, that might be a better way to go than to give a handoff without asking any questions and then risking losing that information or losing that connection and the customer being upset. I reported it and nothing happened, is what I will hear 2 weeks later.
And Councilmember, let me interject. So what you're saying actually aligns with the data. And the metrics that we've established for San Jose 311 is orienting number one and most around first call resolution. Our best chance for high customer satisfaction is when someone calls and their problem is resolved or addressed on that first call. Second best is with a warm transfer. third is collection, and then everything else is bad. And so we are orienting around those services and then needing to work with departments on doing those things just in order of priority. We have an action item here for you, so we'll get together with you on those two items about the login and the transfer processes and take input from others as well.
Thank you. And by the way, this is awesome. I love where we've come. I mean, when I started 4 years ago, we didn't have the My San Jose app even. We hadn't even launched it yet. And we've gone so far and we've made it so that people know 311, 911. And I love the burning building versus burning question key. I wrote it down. I'm totally going to use that in my next office hour. Thank you. So we've come so far with that. And I just want to say, you know, when I give the feedback that I'm giving, these are small tweaks. I think we're so far along, and I'm excited that we're continuing to enhance the customer experience for our residents.
We thank you for that
Thank
feedback.
you. Yes, we
If I could, council member, I just want to build on that just a little bit with my appreciation as well. I think, you know, it's pretty easy at my level to be hand wavy about things and hope that they work. But the only reason that this kind of stuff really works is a particularly difficult role, which is this technology leader role, which you have to both understand the underlying technology, but have to understand the larger picture. And that's the role that both Kia and Herman are playing, where they have to have a foot in both worlds, and then they have to translate hand wavy stuff that I come up with into reality, and people are doing day-to-day service delivery. And I think one of the things, going back to one of the reasons we won the award we won, is that we've been able to attract and retain skilled and emerging technology leaders like Herman and Kia. And I just want to acknowledge that here. And then the other thing off to the side, and I'm hesitating to point this out because I don't want it to be just about this, but the other thing you hear too in technology is, oh, well, you can't get women technologists. Oh, you can't get people of color or good technologists. Bullshit. We've got phenomenal people who also look like the community that we serve and speak the languages of the community that we are part of, and contribute that in addition to being the great technology leaders that we are. And I think, you know, I'm always a kind of a yes and guy. And I think as you look at technology and diversity issues, I'm particularly proud of this team and how they're doing that. And you see that in the way that they've delivered great technology, and including things like doing the translation. And I think those perspectives that they bring, the diversity of experience and diversity of perspective, make us a better technology team for it. So I wanted to kind of go off a little bit to the side on that, since you kind of opened that door, and particularly acknowledge these two contributions. Their contribution to our winning that award. So,
all right, we'll go to Mayor Liccardo.
Thanks, Kip. Very well said. Even if it can't be repeated on all channels of television, it's very well said. Hey, I just want to say a big thank you to Kia and Herman and Jerry and everybody who's been working so hard on this. And yes, to Kip for the hand wavy stuff, because that's important too. I happen to be one of those folks. And look, I've been glass half empty on lots of issues, but I'm glass half full on the fact that we got a patch on the issue around login, because that was hugely frustrating to me. So I'm just really glad we got that patch in place. All the better if we can fix it for good. But thank you for making that happen, because the login, I know, was causing a lot of issues. Hey, when we go back to that slide where we looked at utilization of the 311 app, I know we were having some recent problems, particularly over the summer, around bots and stuff jamming up the app, right? So does some of that reflect bot activity, or were we really maintaining the same usage? Because I was under the impression, at least secondhand, I'd heard, well, 311 app usage is dropping because people are having problems with the login issue.
I don't believe so. So I think I'll go to the slide. So here's the one where you're seeing you're seeing a lot of the bot issues, and they're fairly significant. But if you look at the actual data slide, I think, Mayor, this is what you were referring to.
Yeah.
The only usage that really dropped here was on the other issues. Some of these other abandoned vehicles, graffiti, legal dumping really didn't drop at all. We've looked into the other issues and why we're seeing that drop. We don't have any conclusive data, and I don't think, Herman, unless you got something.
And Jerry, oh, go ahead, Kip.
Well, just the other issues also corresponds with the improvement in the 311 call-in. Or is this total services? Does this include the 311 call-in?
No, this is Herman.
Yeah,
This
these
is
are all
just
the
the-
calls. Yeah, these are all the calls that come to the call center, and when they come, they convert those onto San Jose 311 tickets.
So this
Okay.
So is this the app plus the calls?
The yes, yeah, we can say that.
Oh, I got it. Okay. So people may just be calling instead of using the app. That's okay.
No, I don't know that. I think I might have confused the issue and not clarified it. So let me back out my comment because I don't think it was useful. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I wrongly assumed this was only app service requests, and so I see now Herman's indicating it's more than that. That's helpful. Love the fact that we're adding Recycle Plus in March. Big hooray for that, because I can tell you I had a free junk pickup at my house last week, and it involved, I think, 4 or 5 back and forth phone calls of people trying to make contact, and you can imagine I'm a hard guy to reach. So yeah, that's fantastic. I know Kip is well aware that I'm heavily biased toward adding fireworks as our next addition. I believe, Kip, you indicated there would be some kind of vetting with the council where we pick among our favorite children to add. Is that likely?
A version of that. We're going to come with more detail on the fireworks on the to the full council, because that's where we're reporting back. So we didn't go into detail on that here. But essentially part of the work with the Harvard Business School that we're doing in collaboration is coming up with a more comprehensive list of after we get the language down and done, after we get the Recycle Plus, what would we recommend in terms of the services that are the best fit for the app to add on to it, and we would include the fireworks reporting in that, so you can see how we evaluate it. And then, as always, we throw the hard issues back to you at the council. And if you think that the order should be different or that we're not seeing it right, we could reorder, and we would then take that priority and make that our roadmap going forward. Because what we haven't done to date is taken a look at, okay, out of all the services we provide, what would our top 3 be for adding to the app based on what the app does well? Jerry and his team are in the process of doing that now, and the idea would be we would bring that ultimately to you for your decision if that's the right way to go.
Okay, that's great. Big thanks and kudos to our fearless chair. It just dawned on me this would be your final meeting chairing, Councilmember Diep. Thank you for everything you've done on this committee and your enthusiasm for it, but also particularly for that pushing on the language access. I think that is so critically important. And I guess, I know we've done this before in various fora where, we spend a lot of money for translators to show up at council, and the reality is we don't get anybody to show up who speaks Spanish or Vietnamese because nobody in the community really knows what's on the agenda in Spanish or Vietnamese. So, there's just some very big challenges getting utilization, crossing the language divide. So now that we've conquered the really hard technical task of getting, or we seem to be doing that, getting language translation available, do we have a plan for actually making sure people know this service is available in those communities?
So Mayor, I'll take that. We actually, so it went live last week, 11/20.
The 20th of November.
And so we actually have been working with communications, and we're pushing out information. I believe goes live. It went in our flash report yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday,
yep. And then the social media content will begin pushing that out right now.
Jerry, could you do me a favor and just make sure that our office in particular gets the Vietnamese and Spanish translations of that social media content?
Absolutely.
That'd be great. Thank you. I'll make sure we get it out too.
Mayor, if I can, one of the things we wanted to do was let it sit in soft launch mode for a softer launch mode for about a month. It was a practice we used with My San Jose back in the times, just to make sure that we catch any improvements we need to make. But then to engage with council offices like we did back then to do larger messaging. There was some campaign dollars. We had to get those reduced as part of budget reductions. So you won't see as large a campaign as we originally had planned for San Jose 311 that when we met with folks on that project. But we still have some things that we're going to propose on that as well. So just those three things.
Okay, super helpful. And then, the big sort of justification or rationale for everybody to do all this pushing that was done so well to get folks into the 311 channel was, hey, we're not responding fast enough on 911 calls, or not picking up fast enough. Do we have anything? I know it's not your shop, it's police and fires, but do we have anything to report with regard to how this is affecting our ability to get and respond to emergency calls?
Great. We do have Laura on. Yeah. Hi, Laura.
Hi. As far as the impact to our call answering times, it's been negligible because the number of city services calls that we did handle prior to this was pretty nominal. And I see us going in the right direction as far as answering true non-emergency police calls, but it hasn't really touched our ability to reach the call answering times.
Okay, and that's because this really wasn't such a big share of your workload after all, this 311 stuff?
Exactly.
Huh. Okay, I guess it's been a long time since I looked at the audits and all that kind of stuff. I was under the impression you guys were buried with all these, phone calls about potholes, but that's not happening.
Well, we used to get those, but more so it is actually going to where they need to be.
I see. Okay. Could I ask, I know this is not easy to do, but sort of in the short form, what's our remaining strategies for trying to get emergency response to the thresholds we need?
I do think. Oh, go ahead.
For communications, we're just increasing our staffing, which we're approaching fully staffed, but we're working towards that. And then go ahead with what you were going to say, Jerry.
No, I think, Laura, you and I have talked too, and one of the unfortunate things about the timing of our efforts to migrate these, and then COVID happening, was that campaign getting put on hold. And I think Laura and I have both talked about the need to refresh that with the public and to do a communications push. Now, the problem with that is, again, timing. If we push out and say that everything's open, and we keep, that's where we have to coordinate with the EOC as well on the timing of that campaign.
I'm sorry, by that campaign, Jerry, you're referring to?
So we had, with Google.org, we had planned a major communication campaign with National 311 Day. Some of it happened, but right. A good portion of it did not, because we immediately moved in a week later into shelter in place.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I know 911 is another question we can delve into another time. I look forward to hearing more about how staffing may be helping and whether or not that will be sufficient to get to our goal. Anyway, thank you for everyone for your hard work.
All right. Vice Mayor Jones.
Thank you, Chair. And I also want to thank everyone. This effort has come a long way. I actually remember when District 1 had our own app, and then we launched My San Jose. And I know initially we were very hesitant to even discontinue our app and just have everything handled by My San Jose, even though we were taking requests not only from my district, but from other districts. So it's been an evolution. But one of the focuses that I have, which I'm sure, I know everyone has, is the customer experience. And Councilmember Davis really just provided an excellent example in a scenario of a customer experience. So my first question is, do we have any follow-up customer surveys or customer data to document and track and follow up on the customer experience?
If I can take it, that one. Yes, Oracle provides us with the functionality to capture customer surveys. Those are metrics that we capture Certainly, we are restarting that, but I will be glad to share with you, Council Member.
Okay. And then the second question is, do we do test calls into the system for different scenarios to gauge the call flow and customer experience?
Mystery shopping.
Yes, that's another way to put it. Yes.
Councilman Jones, I actually do quite a bit of testing into the system to make sure that everything's routing properly and that phones are actually being answered in a timely manner.
And do you engage in different scenarios, different requests?
I do. I mean, depending on what I'm testing in the routing with the actual phone system, yes, we do different scenarios. I actually have test scenarios set up.
Great.
If I could, Vice Mayor, I think this also points to a larger, again, capability that over time we want to develop. As we were beginning to work with Harvard, one of the conversations that they've engaged with us is, what's the voice of the customer? And how's the voice of the customer connect back with the service delivery, right? And just as we talked about a little bit earlier, now that we have some of the core technology platform in good shape, this is the perfect time to begin iterative process improvement based on customer experience. And so one of the capabilities that we need to build in this city a little bit more is the ability to take the user experience into account, not only in terms of how we do customer service, but actually how we redesign and design the service itself so it provides a better customer experience. And I think what you're going to see, part of the prioritization work that Jerry is looking at is not just what fits in the app next, but where are, with business process automation and other things, where are we want to increase our ability to close that loop. And I think in its highest vision, this 311 effort should be probably where we have our biggest strength around that iterative loop from customer experience back into what works and what doesn't. I remember my obligatory once a meeting PayPal reference. I remember the first thing they have you do as a director at PayPal is spend 3 days in the customer call center doing side-by-side calls. And then you realize what's broken and what doesn't work, and you're motivated to go back and fix it. And I think we need to begin to institute something like that. You know, Desiree is great, she does it, but each of the people actually providing the service should hear the same kind of calls that her folks are hearing. The parks people should hear the calls of the parks that they're maintaining. It really is a powerful way to begin to connect the people in the organization to the things that, for better or for worse, you as council members are deeply connected to, because you are closer to the voice of the customer often than we are. So I think this is, I would take your kind questions as a pretty strong challenge to us to increase that capability and to close that loop. If I've been good at listening to what you're saying to me.
Totally.
If I could add, sorry, Vice Mayor, if I could add one thing, Kip, to that too. This is one of the reasons we're so tightly connected to the Powered by People effort as well as part of this digital work. And we have Kelly Parmley presenting with us because, and interestingly enough, we just did a learning session with San Rafael today. And somebody said, from San Rafael said they recognize, one of the things they recognize early, the employee experience and the customer experience are completely linked. So we have to tie in that cultural component internally and the transformation with our digital strategy.
And Vice Mayor, if I can connect a couple pieces, including the mayor. So we know on the 311 work that we're making a numeric difference. We know the campaign will further enhance the awareness and habituation of the community, and we're pulling that into an omni-channel solution, meaning we can do voice, we can do mobile, we can do online, we can do direct chat, we can do chatbot, we can do virtual agent, and meet people where they're most comfortable. And then we're linking that with the outcome and effectiveness measure of, did they get their first call resolution or not? And we need to build the scenarios that give them that first call resolution. And there's a customer service component of a survey on each of those ends. So on a direct chat or a voice, we'll survey a percentage of them to get their answer on was it a positive experience or not, and then we can further feel that out, and then marry that with the process engineering piece of how do we make better process across organizational boundaries and even with partners like the water district or school districts or the state or that kind of thing. So that's the ambition and why we're putting all the pieces in place. But hopefully that gives you kind of that wholer picture.
No, definitely, and I appreciate that. As we all have probably, well, I know we've all have experienced calling into a call center for a major company or corporation, and you get stuck in a in a phone tree loop where maybe you just want to talk to a customer service agent, and you're constantly being asked to go a different direction, and you're hitting all the buttons, and you're trying to get out, you're hitting 0 or pound or whatever, and you're not able to get to where you want to go. And these aren't just small companies. I'm talking about major corporations. So it's I'm glad to hear that we're giving this a lot of thought and we're focused on the customer and their experience. So thank you for that. And that's all I have, Chair.
All right. I see somebody on city staff named who raised their hand. I don't know if that's a mistake. Is it Michael Wadnick? Do you want to speak to something?
If I may, thank you.
Yes,
I'd just like to follow up on Mayor Licardo's question. Michael Wadnick, Division Manager in Fire Communications. Fire Communications historically did experience a large call volume related to non-emergency city services, especially calls related to the Department of Transportation. We've gradually been transitioning those duties since 2017, and this 311 project was a major part of that. Based on data we've seen from 2019, we saw about a 55% reduction in those events compared to 2018. So I'm looking forward to reviewing the data once 2020 ends. I anticipate seeing a further reduction there. Regarding the mayor's question about overall workload, regarding our 911 call workload, we're still working towards consistently meeting the state's call answering time standards. We actually have a staffing study that council authorized budget for that is currently underway. So there are other measures we're taking to work towards that goal, but the 311 transition has helped us reduce our workload.
I'm sorry, do you mind if I jump in,
please,
Chairman? Yeah, thank you. I appreciate all that information. The critical outcome question for me, though, is how is it affecting our ability to respond more quickly within the delay thresholds that we believe are acceptable? Have we improved our performance?
Performance has improved over the time period of these transitions. To be honest, it is a little difficult to prescribe the exact cause when we've seen the improvements because we've been making multiple changes at the same time. In addition to these 311 related changes, we've also been making process changes in how we handle the emergency calls and adding new technology on the 911 side. So multiple moving pieces at the same time. We're not 100% there yet. We do still have challenges that we need to address further, and we're looking for that staffing study to make further recommendations for us to help meet those performance standards consistently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm pleased to see our progress on the language issue, that we're basically, I guess, not better than or more accurate than, or whatever, however you want to frame it, than Google Translate. Google Translate is an okay go-between, but it has its issues if you understand the two languages being translated between. Anyways, my question is kind of a comment question. We're kind of this is a great product we have, and I hope that to get to higher degrees of excellence with Spanish and Vietnamese in the the machine learning and the AI translation. I'm happy to help with that, and I'm talking to Rob and Herman to lend my opinion however I can. But as far as product rollout goes, I know we haven't really publicized it, but once we do that, we're going to tell people, hey, you can now go to the San Jose website, city website, and ask questions in your native tongue, in your native language. And just stating that is novel, but we're working against the grain because in the world of, customer service, dealing with credit cards and pharmacies and whatever you deal with to call your 1-800 number, or dealing with bots when you go to Comcast and they say, hey, do you want to buy something right away? The general experience is not a good one. And people like the vice mayor was saying, you kind of just want to get to a real person. You kind of want to avoid all the automatic machine learning bot type stuff. But here, if we do have a good one, I guess my basic point is people's expectations, at least in Vietnamese, and I assume Spanish, is that these things don't work, or they're very remedial. So how do we bridge the expectation gap where we can say San Jose has this thing now, but everyone's going to be like, it's probably not going to be that great. Like, how can a machine speak in Vietnamese or Spanish when demonstrably we're doing better than Google Translate? So how do we bridge that gap of expectations so we actually draw in people to use it as a service and a tool to enrich their lives?
Excellent question. I'll take a first whack at it and then hand it to Jerry, who will have to do the real work on it. So, I think conceptually, the way that we think about this is part of what you want to do, and the overall 311, 911 question provides a good example, right? 911 requires highly dedicated, highly skilled dispatchers who have a vast array of personnel at their essentially disposal who will respond on a dime, right? So you need that high touch. You need somebody who really knows what they're doing in that environment. A lot of the things we do can actually be done more automatically, more straightforward, right? And many of the calls fit into less complex situations than 911, thankfully. So part of what you want to do when you look at this is you want to understand, what are people calling in about and asking in about? And how can we make the processes which are the most called in about and the most straightforward, the best customer experience? So it gets back to that voice of the customer things that everybody's been bringing up. Part of what we want to do when we look at all of the calls is not over-rotate to the outliers. We want to see, for example, both by service area and ultimately by language. So what are the 80% of our calls in Vietnamese about, and then begin to optimize and improve that system overall, and also improve the way we are communicating in Vietnamese. So for example, if I get one call out of 100,000 that's about left-handed widgets, I don't need to spend a lot of time improving my Vietnamese vocabulary on left-handed widgets. However, if 1 out of every 10 calls is about left-handed widgets, then my vocabulary on Vietnamese left-handed widgets should be flawless. And so part of what we have now is the inputs and the foundation to begin doing systemic improvement around those things which are most important to people in general, and around the language where they are calling in around what's most important. So your experience in Vietnamese, if 1 in 10 is calling in about a left-handed widget, should be a great experience. And so that's one thing to do. The other thing it's a slight pushback, but the other thing we found is, as the Italians say, dipende. And what I mean by that in this case is that people have different preferences on how they interact. We find that there's often a generational difference in how people want to interact. My kids would not talk to a live human being unless you paid them to do that. They would much rather have an automated system that takes care of their every need. And so part of what we're going to understand is who's calling us in and who wants to talk to us, and who's using our digital services. And what we suspect, and we'll verify this with data, is that we will have a bit of a generational shift in that, not entirely, and that we, over time, will see more and more people habituating themselves to the pure digital. So those are just a couple of thoughts. I'll let Jerry and others add in.
The only thing I would add, a couple things. One would be due care in our rollout strategy. So let's nurture this and make sure that we get it right and don't spoil the first impression of it. We do the numbers we showed you. We're very proud of. We like what we're seeing so far. The concern would be that we try to scale it too fast, right? So we make sure that we get it right. The other is, and we're already doing this, expanding our involvement of community members that actually come in and work with us on testing the language translation. And so we have a group that we're bringing in to test the application as a whole more and more, to make sure that the usability stuff is tested before we release, and then also focusing on the language as well. And the other thing I would add, and Kip was saying that on the 911 is, there's the language issue, and then there's also how government speaks, and that's where some of that vernacular, government ease, if you will, really takes some extra training of the module to pick that up, to increase the level of understanding of some of the terms that we use.
No, thank you for that, Kip and Jerry. It's a good, good background. I guess my question was kind of slightly different in the sense that how do we set community expectations? Not so much the technical aspect of improving the machine learning, but the analogy being, I think generally since the 80s, Americans or people generally tend to favor Toyotas and Hondas as being the cars, just from the 80s, right? But if you go to the 2000s, like Ford is actually a pretty decent car with good mileage and just as competitive as like a Toyota or a Honda, but there's still that impression. So to the extent that Google, is only hitting, I forget the numbers, but 50%, 60% accuracy, and we've exceeded Google. But to the extent that Google is the gold standard and people don't really trust Google Translate, they kind of look down on it, or for whatever reason, they don't trust it. I feel that we need to go above and beyond to say, hey, we got a different product here that's not what you expect. We got to subvert people's expectations to realize this is really good stuff. Go ahead and give it a try.
Council member, if I were to jump in here, so actually I went through this very similar issue with just earlier this year with launching a product for Afghans in Afghanistan for folks who spoke only Dari and Pashto. So the best way we can do that, and Jerry highlighted some of the efforts, but on top of that is to bring them into the testing and to set expectations that way. And so one is being able to very clearly ask them, like, hey, elicit feedback. Hey, if you didn't like the translator, did I get it right? And if not, then also empower them to be able to provide the feedback of like, hey, look, maybe I answered incorrectly, or this doesn't make sense. And we found that to be pretty powerful because the libraries that we were pulling from one of the big tech companies, simply just because of the language and the structure and the fluidity of it and how it evolves so often, didn't have fully built out libraries that you would see for some of the traditional Romance languages. To English. So that was something that we did between English Dari and English Pashto. And so taking that feedback going, and it was a great way for us to navigate expectations from a B2C, business to customer perspective.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. And just, I won't dwell on this, but just so one technical question, going back to technical rather than marketing. Are we, whatever we have, are we able to understand Vietnamese without accents? So Vietnamese is using the Roman alphabet because it used to use the Chinese symbols, but then the French colonized and they brought the Roman alphabet to Vietnamese with accents. So Roman alphabet with tones, the letters MA, depending on different tones, can mean ghost, can mean horse, can mean mother, depending where the tones are. But as Vietnamese people text to each other or write emails to each other for shorthand, they just write a sentence out, no accents. But it depends on the human mind to kind of look at the context. We're talking about dinner. You're not inviting a horse to dinner. You're inviting mom to dinner. So they kind of shorthand that. Now, I assume that when we're doing this, we're assuming 100%, Oxford English Vietnamese, if you can call it that, standard Vietnamese with accents and everything's right. But can we account for lack of accents, one, or two, just spelling mistakes?
Armand?
Yeah, what I wanted to mention, council member, is that when we selected the group of testers, we purposely identified Vietnamese speakers who came to the state before 1975 and after 1975. We thought that was a good approach. By the way, that was a recommendation that somebody from your staff, council team, suggested to us. And the rating that they provided to us was acceptable enough to have some level of confidence that the translation actually was correct. Now, yeah.
Go ahead, Herman. Just on the
what
question.
I say is that are there other ways to improve this? Yes. This is just the first step getting out the door. We're also adding to the application a way that Jordan was mentioned to us. we're giving the user the opportunity to report an incorrect translation. So we will be using that information plus other activities with the communities to make sure that indeed the language translate correctly.
The very specific question, though, that I think the council member is asking is the diacriticals, accent marks, intonation marks. Typically, formal Vietnamese would have the diacriticals indicating both the accents and the intonation. Typically, the way it's actually used colloquially, it's within the U.S. alphabet, which doesn't have the diacriticals. So if somebody writes in an email in Vietnamese without the diacriticals, are we able to translate that? And does the machine translation, is it able to take into account context in order to make the correct distinction with the lack of understanding what the tone is? Because I think
I just added accents to my name on my screen. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah,
there's accents to my name now. So
right.
I go in English without them. So sometimes you just write emails without the accents, right? So that's really my question. And I know it's all Greek or something, so there's no expectation that we have this like locked down. I just want to flag the issue for you.
Yeah, and I think the answer is yes, Armand, that we have implemented. I forget the terminology you use, the more you didn't use the word
diacritical
accents.
Yeah, yeah. I think the answer is yes, Armand, that we've used something that's more generally understood.
Yeah, that's correct.
I just wanted to point it out. We can move on. Can we have a motion?
Actually, Chair, sorry. As an action item on this, I'm writing down that we'll follow up with you on this for some testing, same as we have discussed previously.
Sure, happy to. And you know, even after this, and you guys all have my contact info. This is something I do care about, so feel free to reach out, and I'll be a beta tester or advisor or whatever. Okay, can we get a motion to accept?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, Tony.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Ricardo,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Dieppe.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now on to the next item. I believe it's Public Safety Communications Interoperability Annual Report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. One of the most transformative projects for public safety has been the Silicon Valley Regional Communication System. And this is a strategic initiative to break the communication silos between public safety government agencies and regionally. So Police Department Interoperability Manager Andy Smith is next to present the annual Public Safety Interoperability Report and to take questions.
Thanks, Rob. Hello, Mr. Chairperson, Mr. Mayor, members of the committee, city staff, and members of the public. I'm Andy Smith. I'm the Interoperability Communications Manager, and I'm here to provide an annual report on public safety communications that promote interoperability for first responders in San Jose and the Bay Area, with a focus on the recently completed Silicon Valley Regional Communication System. You have to forgive me, I'm Zoom challenged, so I'm going to try and change slides here. There we go. So I am pleased to announce that we have completed the Silicon Valley Regional Communication System, or we, or the authority has. The system build out is complete. As of September of this year, it was signed off by the Silicon Valley Regional Interoperability Authority and is now in our care and feeding. From moving forward, we're going to be in a maintenance of effort mode for the most part. Motorola and the microwave vendor will be maintaining the system on a service level agreement that is in place for approximately the next 10 years, give or take. And that actually will include any system upgrades that we may need in those 10 years to meet upgrade requirements such as Windows changes and whatnot. I reported out last year that the central cell, or those in the green, which service the city of San Jose, were also completed, and that was at the end of 2019, and that really positioned us as a city to go ahead and move on to the system. We went ahead, the police department migrated in March of this year, and fire department migrated in July of this year. The gap in the two migrations was so that the radio shop could support both departments fully. With the great number of users that we have, we didn't want to stack them on top of each other due to the size of the radio shop, but also just the amount of support that we may or may not have needed. Again, very pleased to report it was a very smooth transition. A lot of time and effort went into the preparation, the programming, training, both field personnel as well as communications personnel. And we did have staff on site ready to support these efforts on the day of cutover, but it went very, very smoothly. Also want to report out that our current radio subscriptions that were planned back in 2015 for about 2,750 has increased. The good news is we've not had to provide any buy-in, if you will, for those radios. We entered into an agreement earlier this year, probably late last year, with the VTA to secure 250 of their licenses that they did not need. And then the SVRIA, or the authority, went through a true-up process early this year, and we were able to commit to an additional 250, so that we did not again have to come up with the buy-in amount. So we believe that we have a ceiling on our radio count that we can live with moving forward, given staffing increases and whatever else may come down the road. It looks like on an annual basis the true-up process will occur. It's just a mystery right now as to whether any buy-in is going to be needed if we go above 3,250. Also, Public Works has been working very extensively with the Silicon Valley Regional Interoperability Authority to monitor remote sites that are on San Jose dirt, for lack of a better term, which would include monitoring the generators, real-time fuel levels, battery health, climate controls in real time, given public safety power shutdowns and the wildfires that we had experienced this year. So we are, in this fiscal year, hoping to be able to remotely monitor all of our sites that are within our jurisdiction, so that we don't have to remotely drive out and see if the generator's running and how much fuel is in it. So that's good news, and that's going to help with our continuity of operation given power shutoffs and wildfires. Additionally, Motorola and the microwave vendor, which is evaluati, just completed a series of updates, which included a great bit of the infrastructure and hardware. The system, actually, the ECOM microwave system is many, many years old, so it was time for an equipment refresh, as well as some of the parts and pieces from the Motorola system that were, for instance, born in 2012. So that just was all refreshed in the last 4 to 5 months. The other piece to report out is that the Department of Justice has just come down with an encryption mandate for all of the radio channels that would include personally identifiable information and criminal justice information. It is confidential to the public, so the direction has been to encrypt those channels that carry that. So in other words, if a police officer runs a driver's license or a warrant, the returns that come from dispatch are technically protected confidential information for that individual. So San Jose Police Department anticipated this mandate early in the process, and we had encrypted our talk groups or channels, as well as our special operations talk groups and channels, which were traditionally encrypted. But when we went live, we already have accomplished that. So we are in compliance right now for the city with that directive. Now, there is a countywide coordination underway to meet the requirement. There's a subcommittee that is in place so that the Silicon Valley Regional Communication Systems mutual aid talk groups, if you will, are also going to have to be encrypted, because those are usually tied together to any agency's dispatch channel. So we're coordinating and collaborating countywide through the police chiefs to have a fully encrypted system probably by the end of next year, or at least that's the plan. Just like the system, even though it is just been accepted, we purchased radios as far back as 2012, and they are at this point at the end of life, or some of them are. The numbers of the counts are right there. The current SVRIA, or the Interoperability Authority's purchasing vehicle, expires in 12 days. So there are a couple of new purchasing vehicles that we are exploring through the budget office. Public Works, the fire department, and the police department are currently working to finalize counts, funding, and procurement vehicles for those radios that come out of support as early as next year and in the next couple of coming years. But basically, this is just a first glance at the scope and the potential needs. But again, it is a work in progress. It's a very fresh issue, and we're continuing to work closely with the budget office to strategize on how we're going to respond. And finally, why does this all matter? Well, for the first time in the history of the county, every single public safety agency is on the same radio system. In the past, each agency had their own system, number one. Number two, they weren't all in the same frequency band and were not compatible with each other. So some agencies, including the city of San Jose, could not necessarily communicate even with a neighboring agency because of this disparate system. So now everything is all on one platform. We have interoperable talk groups that we can utilize amongst agencies, and it's an exciting time from a communication standpoint, given where we started again about a dozen years ago. The other thing for service delivery for the city itself, and what this means to our citizens, is that the quality and the coverage is outstanding. For the first time, for instance, the police department, all of the channels are crystal clear throughout all of the city. Some of the older equipment, maybe over in the Evergreen area, was down in the valley and wouldn't necessarily work citywide. But now with the infrastructure that we share, we are now able to have the same clear, concise communications from north to south, east to west. This system provides an economy of scale and shared maintenance expenses, so the city doesn't bear the burden alone on its infrastructure for this. And as I mentioned prior, there are service level agreements in place with both Motorola and the microwave vendor that support this system. So that's being managed by the new executive director, Mr. Eric Nickel, retired Palo Alto fire chief, who just took over less than a month ago. So that is being maintained by the system and not our city staff. So recent examples of some interoperability, unfortunately, the Gilroy Garlic Festival active shooter, not a good event, but we were able to support that from our standpoint. We used interoperable communications talk groups from the system, and we're able to coordinate with Gilroy, which again, a year ago would not have been possible because of the different systems. We used the same system and interoperable channels during the local civil unrest, and cooperating agencies such as CHP were able to seamlessly integrate into the operations, as well as other agencies within the county, City of Santa Clara County Sheriff, and the system supported that again in a seamless fashion. The other good news is that there's two I guess bonuses to this. One is that the neighboring systems within the Bay Area, both Alameda, Contra Costa County on the East Bay system, San Mateo, San Francisco, and Marin, they all have like 700 megahertz Motorola systems. So we can, number one, use their systems when we're in their town. We just had an incident that started in San Jose, terminated in Pleasanton, for example. We were able to communicate with Pleasanton PD dispatch and Pleasanton PD, who supported our operation for a successful end to that. Conversely, neighboring agencies from any of those systems can come into the Bay Area or into the South Bay and use our system. One example is that right now, well, not right now because of COVID, but at Levi Stadium, for example, San Francisco sheriffs can come down, integrate into the system, and assist Santa Clara PD in events at Levi Stadium. So the neighboring systems, they all work pretty well together. And fresh off the press, there is a new 700 megahertz radio system that is on the horizon. It's about 50% built out, but we will have interoperability should we need to leave the Bay Area, from Redding to Bakersfield in the LA area, the Orange County area, as well as the capital area in Sacramento. But at the end of the day, this project was a dozen years or so in the making. Thousands of hours of work went into this, and the coordination that took place was phenomenal. A lot of hands touched this, from the radio shop, supporting all the programming efforts, communication centers, the communication center equipment installation, and really bringing the city into the 21st century from a radio equipment perspective. The police and fire department collaborated very well and coordinated efforts on multiple fronts, including training, programming, radio configurations, and just general planning to get this across the line. Both of our communication centers managers, who you saw today on this call, were instrumental, very, very engaged and very, very prepared, and they prepared their staff, which really brought both cutover days into a very smooth transition. A lot of heavy lifting went on ahead of time, but at the end of the day, both cutover days for both police and fire were a huge success. So it is the culmination of a lot of effort, and outstanding work was done by one and all to get us to where we're at now. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's see if there's anybody at the public. Surprisingly, nobody at the public. Oh, of course, Mr. Beekman.
Hi, yes, definitely. I have to speak on this item. Thank you. To speak about the federal agency evaluati, which who had much designs in the funding of this program and designs of this program. In a steady learning process since 2014, the federal agency evaluati is learning to leave the language and focus of an agency of anti-terrorism and law enforcement and move into an agency more focused on emergency preparedness and mutual aid. Meanwhile, current evaluati funding ideas may be keeping a process overly confused and opaque from everyday community and even from local government itself, with 1 to 3 year funding structures that can feel like a street hustle shell game that can keep projects and its funding off balance and opaque, like when a country is at war. It is this time of learning how to ask about peace, the prison military industrial state, social racial equity, reimagine open democratic practices, that is how to define community sustainability. I hope it can be a time we can all consider how federal evaluati funding structures can be simplified a bit and consider how to work towards more open and transparent evaluati funding practices at the local Bay Area level in the next few years. It also should be noted the very good work Fremont can do. At their own city council meeting this week, they're talking about how their SLES COP state funding can be used for police mental health and well-being. I hope these sorts of reimagine ideas for local law enforcement can be considered in San Jose as well. With my remaining time, 28 seconds, I would just like to ask, thank you for finally finishing this project. Are you thinking about how there can be channels open and available to the everyday public in a time of emergency, to have telecommunications, cell phone channels available and open to the public in a time of emergency is something that you guys should really be working on next. I hope you can, and Chappie Jones may know a lot about this, how to talk about it. Thanks.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Beekman. Returning to my colleagues on council, does anybody have any comments? I just want to underscore, I think it looks, I think this is a big deal. It certainly is. This is a long time coming. It seems normal that agencies, across different jurisdictions should be able to speak to one another. And we kind of take it for granted, but the very fact that I recall stories from like 9/11 days about this not being able to work out. And now in our region, we're able to do it. I think it's a huge win, and it deserves a moment of celebration. Today's a big day of celebration, but I think this is a long time coming. So I just want to underscore that, because I think it's a point that's easily missed because we just expect it to be so. But getting on the right wavelengths and all the technology and the different bands to be able to separate the conversations between cities and be on the same wavelength when we need to be. I'm sure there's a lot of technical stuff that went into it that I don't even understand. So kudos to everyone involved. Thank you. I see some hands raised now. We'll go to Vice Mayor Jones.
Yes, I just raised my hand because Blair said I should speak to this. But seriously, I serve on that board, and I can tell you that this is a big deal. I've seen the development of this project early on when they were first implementing it, and I can tell you that there was a lot of time and attention that went into the build out of the network, as well as the rollout, as well as troubleshooting any kind of issues. And I was very impressed with the expertise that went into this, the project management, and the cooperation of all the regional stakeholders in moving this forward. So everybody should be proud of this effort, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future, because this was a big win.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Jimenez.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just speaking because Chappie spoke, but I'm glad he spoke, because I know he's been on this, the regional body has been doing a lot of this work for some time, and I wanted to express my gratitude to him for seeing this through. I know you've been meeting for a long time. Quite frankly, I think it's been close to 3 or 4 years, if not longer. So thank you so much for the work, Vice Mayor.
All right, seeing no other, Councilmember Jimenez, did you want to speak again? Oh, okay.
No, mistakes.
All right. Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Tony.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Ricardo,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, now moving on to our final item, joint school library issued cards update.
Thank you, Chair. The Joint School Library Card Initiative has been an innovative partnership between San Jose Public Library and local education agencies. It is a key component to increasing access to information and resources for K through 12 students in San Jose. With us is Library's Deputy Director of Public Services, Michelle Ornott, who will provide a verbal update on the Joint School Library Cards, as well as take any questions.
Hello, Chairperson, Mayor, members of the committee, and members of the public. I'm Michelle Ornott, Deputy Director of Public Services for the Public Library, and I'm here to provide the verbal update on Joint School Library Cards. The goal is that every student in San Jose have access to library resources via the Student Library Card Program, and the presentation will provide an overview of our successes, the distribution, partnerships, and action items for the next academic year. The Joint School Student Library Card with Public Library for K through 12 students is really a prime example of the impact that the education and digital literacy strategy is having on our community. Next slide, please. There are several elements that are contributing to the successful rollout of this Joint School Library Program. And thanks to the Council's approval in July of 2018 for the Juvenile Fines Free program, the pathway was really cleared for the Joint Library Card partnerships. And this really allowed us to further reduce our barriers to access for our San Jose students and continue to strengthen those community connections. Initial partnerships like districts Alum Rock Unified, San Jose Unified, Union, and Moreland gave us a pathway to work with other districts and local education agencies, including charter schools and charter networks with which the library had already had existing relationships. We're well positioned to manage this large-scale implementation and protect student privacy through our membership in the California Student Data Privacy Alliance. Our MOU with the Student Data Privacy Consortium has also allowed us to quickly partner and execute MOUs with Elk Grove and other member districts. Our status as a trusted partner further allows us to share our commitment to student privacy in a transparent and validated way. Next slide, please. Because processes and infrastructure for MOU execution, card distribution, and resource promotion were in place in spring before the shutdown, the library has been able to both expand and build on partnerships. By using our integrated library systems and student data exchange with student ID numbers, we've been able to create digital library cards on a large scale. Easy to remember digital card numbers based on student IDs stay with students through graduation or until they leave the district. Simplified and uniform lending rules also make promotion and delivery less complicated. Librarians can focus on building relationships and providing vital virtual support and e-resource instruction via virtual class visits and training for staff and teachers and students and parents. And then also because we've been able to pivot quickly to virtual engagement, it really meant that we were able to keep the momentum going. Next slide, please. As of today, the library has issued nearly 70,000 student cards to a dozen local education agencies, ranging from Luther Burbank, a one school district with 521 students, to San Jose Unified with nearly 30,000 students. Next slide. Thanks to Public Works and their phenomenal GIS capabilities, this impact map shows where we are today. In bright blue, the range of our existing district partnerships, while light blue shows the partnerships that we're currently developing. The individual dark blue dots show the locations of charter schools for reference. And we're also working with our expanded learning team, is actively working to set up student library card partnerships with all districts so that San Jose students can have those cards. Next slide, please. One of the metrics we have been using is tracking point-in-time data with regard to child and teen usage of library materials, and in this case, specifically physical library materials. Since June 2018 and prior to the juvenile fine-free pilot, child and teen card membership has increased 93%, and the percentage of those card holders with physical materials checked out has also increased by 33%. The amount of physical materials also checked out just in general has increased by 22%. And it's just important to note this because libraries across the country are looking at usage trends across all of their platforms. So this is significant that we see in this demographic that we do have an increase in physical material usage. Next slide, please. The downloading and streaming of ebooks and e-media over the last 3 fiscal years has also risen considerably. This specifically shows the usage of teen ebooks and e-audiobooks, children's ebooks and e-audiobooks, and then also the streaming and downloading of a variety of music, movies, books and audio that are geared towards teens on the Hoopla platform. So we've broken out this usage across 3 different lines here. The bottom line, the yellow line, this is showing nearly 100% increase in that streaming children and teen materials, all those platforms on the Hoopla platform. The other line, the red line here in the middle, is showing a 42% increase in the checkouts of teen ebooks and e-audiobooks. And this is largely a one-to-one student or checkout. So for example, a 1 copy, 1 user. So that would not be simultaneous usage. And also the top line too, which shows the 115% increase in checkouts of children's ebooks and e-audiobooks. And again, that's largely 1 copy, 1 user lending rules on that. Next slide, please. In the coming months, the library is on track to issue cards to 3 additional charter school networks, ACE Charter School, KIPP, and Downtown College Prep, and additional 50,000 students in the other remaining high school districts. So Oak Grove, Eastside, Evergreen, Berryessa will be receiving their student library cards before the end of the academic year. The partnerships that we have and the speed at which those partnerships move vary greatly. For example, we were just issued this week library cards to Cambrian, and we just started that partnership actually just a couple of weeks ago. So we are really hopeful that as more of the schools come online, that the momentum just keeps building and moving. Next slide, please. So next steps in our program here, sort of divided up into 3 different areas or timeframes. So right now in fall, we're really excited to announce the launch of the new educators e-card. And what this is that this is a card with expanded lending limits just for educators serving San Jose students. This was released on November 30th. Librarians are also providing more virtual training for parents, students, and teachers, and they're creating a virtual outreach plan to get us through the end of the academic year, knowing that the support of student learning online is still very much a real reality. In the rest of the academic year for 2020-21, like I said, we'll be providing an additional 50,000 student library cards to the districts identified. We'll also be assessing hotspot lending for the student program, and then we're going to be doing a winter reading program and a summer learning program. The really important thing with all of this, though, is that the digital inclusion and expanded learning team will be assessing that student hotspot lending, student card usage, and the impact of our virtual outreach efforts. Staff will be working on a framework to analyze anonymized student participation data in library programs, and also the development of a framework to track student progress through program participation. This is going to be done by using student ID as we can track student progress, anonymized, and this will allow us to really greater coordinate our educational outcomes. This work is integral to the next phases of education and digital literacy work and enhancing access for our students. And then finally, the library will be reporting back to the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee in summer 21. Next slide. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. Let's check and go to the public if there are any public comments. Seeing none. Any comments from my council colleagues?
I just have one comment.
Go ahead, Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. I just, this was awesome to see the uptake in usage. I want to congratulate you. Great program. I know it's been forging those partnerships was a big job, and I just want to say thank you, and our kids are all better for it. So thank you.
The team's done an absolutely amazing job reaching out and working with each one of these school districts and the charter school networks. They've just been incredible.
And to see the usage and the number of materials go up already, it's clearly already paying off. So that's great.
So thank you.
Sure, I want to echo that and thank our library team, Jill, Michelle, Ann, and others that I know I don't know the names of because because also anytime you're working across jurisdictions, across school districts and cities and whatnot, getting everybody on the same page, creating one single network that accommodates everybody's needs and wants is a huge deal. So this is really great, and simplifying access to library books and library materials, not just books anymore. Our libraries are more than books these days. So kudos, thank you, and I'll pass it on to Mayor Liccardo.
Thanks, really impressive progress, and thank you for all the hard work. 2 questions. One is, I know we've been working for several years with this data trust concept with several organizations, school districts, juvenile probation, so forth, for gang prevention, and mostly dealing with older kids to see how we could really measure whether or not we're having an impact on a child's path or student, whether or not they're showing up in class and so forth. And I wonder, similarly, can we, with anonymized data, be able to look at a cohort of, say, 40 kids who are in our after-school San Jose Learns program to understand whether, as a result of their use of the program, they're going to the library more? Is that something we can do?
I'm going to let Ann Grabowski take that one.
Thanks, Mayor. Ann Grabowski, Chief of Staff and Manager of Policy and Analytics for the library. The short answer is yes. Yes, we can do that.
Cool.
Especially with the paired library card that uses the student ID number. And we're fairly close to getting underway with an actual MOU with the data zone and the County Office of Education for true implementation of that partnership. We should be able to track usage between our partner programs.
And did you say that data zone will be up and running soon?
We're getting underway with an MOU.
Okay, so that means maybe it'll be up in 2021.
We've moved forward with a lighter touch version that doesn't require all of the server infrastructure. So with the MOU, we should be up and running almost immediately, specifically focused on Learns programs first. This light touch avoids a lot of the cybersecurity concerns and privacy concerns that we had as we developed the program.
Great, thank you for that. And then can I just ask, I mean, obviously this is an important program. Why is it being heard here in the smart cities? Can you, I may have missed something, like what is sort of the technological or smart city angle to this?
I think that question is probably best answered by Kip, but this program as an innovative program was placed on the Smart City Roadmap, which is why its progress is being reported here, but Kip?
Okay. It's more the service improvements part of us. Though by definition, anything the library does is pretty smart. So it's less about technology and more about the service improvements. And we think the particularly innovative aspect in this case is again, going back to this customer perspective, a school kid doesn't care whether it's a city library or school library. They want access to information, right? And so so that's the rationale for bringing it here.
And in the roadmap, it was under user-friendly government.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. No other questions. Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call, Tony.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Davis,
Aye.
Liccardo,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Dieppe.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to public forum. But before I do, I guess thanks for reminding me, this is my last Smart Cities Committee, and it's been a fun ride serving with Mayor Liccardo, Vice Mayor Jones, Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Jimenez, and also previously Councilmember Camus on this inaugural committee. I know out of all the constellations of the committees we have across the city, I've watched some of the ones that I'm not on. I've been on others. And this one is certainly special. It's special and it's different in a lot of ways, not just about our subject matter, but also the way that we handle items, our nimbleness, our lack of written memos and more presentations, and just spending time to digest and innovate and hear from each other. I think that's special, and I think that although we're the young committee on the block, other committees would do well to learn and do things the way we do them. So I put that out there for what it's worth, and I'll take the heat because I'm on my way out. So I'll say it. But, so yes, so thank you so much for the opportunity to serve as chair and to be a member of this, Mayor Liccardo. And thank you to all the staff, Dolan and Kip and Rob and others that I won't name, who have come to meet with me, month to month and discuss things behind the scenes. And I know how hard you work. And it's not until you get to chair one of these things that you understand the enormous amount of coordination that goes into these committees. It's not just the few hours on Civic TV that you see every month. So I appreciate that very much. I'll miss it. And I hope I've left my mark. And as for City Hall, I'm leaving, but I'll still haunt the halls. I hope my spirit's still here. It's just a phone call or a text away. So thank you, everybody. And on to public comment. Public comment. I'm assuming this is Mr. Beekman. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Mr. Beekman. Hi, thank you. Thank you very much, Councilperson Dieppe, for your service, and thanks for your patience with myself all these years. And I will definitely be thinking about you in the future of language interpretation issues in San Jose. So thanks. To go here, I may have to apologize and practice updating my words again in reporting COVID-19 statistics from the Google search engine. This is my life's learning. Sorry for the trouble. Hopefully, rereading Google statistics more correctly, I am back to the idea. I think San Jose is currently at about, or Santa Clara County is currently at about 4 or 5 deaths a day from COVID-19. This is about 20 to 25 deaths a week, with Alameda County and Santa Clara County at the highest deaths a week. I will try to offer next week how these numbers can add up across the 9 counties of the Bay Area. These are the still same numbers the Google search engine offered a few months ago. I will also keep you updated if the Google death statistics and case numbers rise in the next few months. And as I've been stating recently, I'm still guessing it is the intent of government that they have already planned the expected increase in COVID-19 cases that we are currently going through. But knowing the vaccination process would be arriving, it would be the intention to keep deaths to a minimum in this next US wave of COVID-19. It's a lot to say. It's brave to say. I'll be careful how to say that. So as I've been trying to offer for the past few months now, it is still vitally important to continue to practice safety, physical distancing, to wear a mask and to wash your hands. And I still very much worry that schools will not be allowed to open until the fall of 2021, along with the worry that I've already stated of the rise in deaths that will happen in the next few months with so many new additional COVID-19 cases. Overall, it's my intention of my words to be a part of a process that can help make it safer and easier for both the everyday community and local government to want to more openly and publicly talk about the overall plans to address COVID-19 and our societal future for the next few years until our more regular patterns can return. Sorry again, where I may be wrong sometimes. Try to speak or write to myself in good terms what can be better ways to think and work. I'm at 0, so thanks for your time and efforts today.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.